Okay, so I'm redoing the commentary on this just because the simple fact is I didn't really speak much during the match because I got a little bit confused and everything else going on. It was really hard to talk about what was going on along with the match. So I'm kind of uh, re-recording here. Opening hand is absolutely poor, especially in this matchup. No blocks what to speak of. It was very clear he was going to play a very standard the start. Probably the best thing to do um, against a new guy. So I figured the pokes were coming fast and furious in the beginning, but I had no way to deal with it. But the best thing I had was a dodge. Everything else was too slow and just didn't matter. So I hoped against Hope he was doing something a little funny and tried the 10 throw to guard crush. But other than that, there wasn't much I could do. Um, the dodge here probably wasn't the best idea ever, but it literally was the only thing I could do um, without to get any kind of damage in. I thought about just putting 110, but I didn't think he would try the Joker this early against me. So I went ahead and went for the 20. I wanted to keep the 10s because at least it'd give me a draw opportunity if I think he's going to block. Luckily, I did draw a block. It's not on the best card ever. But it's what I had, so I had to use it. 10 would have worked there. And it did cross my mind, but I wanted to play it safe after with such a bad hand start. But given the fact that I still had a really, really bad hand to start with, I'm starting at a very large life advantage. So that's good news for me. It wasn't as bad of a start as I originally thought it was when I was playing in the match, but it already took me out of my mindset. So I think it was a foregone conclusion after that. One of the things I gotta learn is try to get my mind back in shape, even though maybe a string of bad combats or whatever, make good decisions. That 10 was definitely not a good decision. So probably should have blocked there. There could have been a thought of a throw, but my hand is still really, really poor, and I need to just block my way out of it. I wasn't expecting him to block much more. It was good on his part with the 9 block, figuring it was pretty safe. I'd already burned 2 10s. I could have thrown the third 10 just to really screw things up, but by this point I was too afraid to do that. I was trying to get back to some sort of standard play. I was just spending so much time trying to get my hand sculpted back that I really didn't think of many other plays I could make. Getting the 5 here, I keep thinking in my mind, well, he's gonna poke, does what he does best. The thing is, the worst possible result that came from that, he actually did throw a 7, which is the only knockdown normal, which obviously beats the General's armor. So when I finally draw it and get a chance to play it against him, he susses it out. Kind of sucks, but not much I can do there. Life totals are now back to even. At this point, I'm just looking to get up quick. I know I can play underneath his K. Obviously, dodge was a possibility from him, but I didn't really feel like I wanted to do that. Although with the 7 in hand and the 6 block, probably should have. Again, this is kind of hindsight, so I'm not sure I would have made the same the right play in the moment. I think I probably would have made the same exact play, trying to play under his king. But I also hadn't shown any throws yet, so kind of keeping that in mind, it probably was worthwhile. I was thinking here that he may try, since I was knocked down again, that he may try to just play the king raw this time. So I decided to go ahead and hit the Q button again. I'm not Sad about that specific play at that time. But I'm sure from his perspective, he hadn't seen me throw yet or willing to throw yet with Oni. So it makes sense why he would go ahead and dodge again. And here, after seeing it 2 times in a row, he knew it was probably pretty safe. There wasn't too many things I could undercut him. I hadn't powered up yet. Something I need to look at my play. When are opportunities for me to power up to threaten the ace. Even if I'm not necessarily looking to play the aces or whatever. I think I need to power up more, just to show that the threat is there. Especially in some of the games I played tonight against ARG, which are coming up later, and I had earlier in the SummerSlam matchup, which you can watch too. I knew that just having that threat would be nice. Just the fact that they could threaten something like a bubble shield made me play differently. If I had the threat of showing that, hey, I had the aces, maybe that's it. And as you can see, I'm still talking about the blocks, but kind of rewatching it again, it's like really didn't make much difference. I was up over 30 life to start. Also, I should have played face down on the last play. Even if I didn't have anything, I had to be willing to show that I'm willing to bluff. And also respect the fact that he was able to do that much damage. He did do more damage than I was expecting. Well, I know how Vendetta plays and what his very, very high level, what he's not. I don't mean high level competitively. I mean high level as in, from the top down view. I understand what he wants to do, but I don't know all the numbers yet. I don't know how much damage he can do in one combat and everything else. And just didn't think about it on the fly. So in this game, I'm just kind of... I stuck with Oni. I didn't want to counterpick. I didn't really know what a good counterpick against Vendetta. And I did feel like me trying to counterpick was just going to put me in a worse position, because I think Onimaru is the character I have that I'm the best at currently. And I don't think the matchup's that bad. In fact, I do feel... even play that we are even skill, that I would have the advantage just based on character choices. Again, throwing out that 10, I think I've shown that I'm willing to throw the 10 early and without dodge. And that might have been a situation where I would want to dodge, because he's shown that he wants to poke early and is willing to poke early. And I haven't really punished him for that yet. So it's something that I need to consider instead of just throwing those 10s right out there raw. I'm just too in trying to get the innate to work. And quite honestly, in a lot of matchups, the innate's only going to come in every once in a while, not all the time. People are going to play around it, especially anybody that knows the matchup. So I need to keep that in mind. Still keep them honest with it, but at the same time, not rely on it so much. Here I'm just looking to kind of build my hand. I didn't want to throw the 10 again. The king's not a good lead. I only have one ace. The 7th throw was an option, but I thought at this point that just playing a fairly safe play is okay. And he hasn't shown that he's willing to throw early or really throw at all other than just the king, so I thought I'd stick with that. I did at that point, however, based on what I had in my hand, I thought trying to go for another 10 would work, and this time I did try to dodge it. But he's showing another 9 block. I believe this is I think this is only the second time he's blocked. Yeah, this is only the second time he's blocked with a 9. Try to hit another poke, and there's another 9 block. You may be seeing a pattern here. That's 3 turns in a row. He's hit with 9 block, and he's got a nice healthy hand. My hand's also pretty full and got a lot of options too. As you see, I'm thinking about the General's Armor again. And this time I do it running the same 9. it had thought it crossed my mind to throw, to show that I'm willing to throw. I think one of the things I can do in my games is throw a little bit earlier than I do in the game, just because I need to keep people honest. I need to know that they're gonna get thrown, even though my throw is probably, I'd say, the second worst behind Lum. Lum, I think, has the worst throws. I like mine better just because they're decent speed. So, and I really am not afraid to throw. It's just that I just haven't found the right timings for it yet. So I'm contemplating an ace. 4 9s in a row. I'm trying to decipher whether or not he was waiting for me to show that I was willing to throw. He plays the 4, and I was able to undercut it. Kind of surprising he played that, given the fact he had blocked 4 turns in a row. I figured he would have figured that I'd make the newbie thing to just, okay, he's played block 4 times in a row, so he's probably going to do it a 5th time just to, maybe go crazy or something like that. So, a throw was definitely pretty heavy in my range, that particular one. So I was surprised to see the 4, which are undercut both for my 7 and my 8. So now I have a decent hand, and I'm really just trying to find a way to push in the damage. So I tried to dodge it in, figuring he'd poke. He did exactly what I thought he would do. Then, of course, the face down is pretty typical. He's got such a full hand. He doesn't know that whether or not I'm going to respect it or not. I do somewhat respect it because I do play the ace dodge instead of the 10 I was originally thinking of. Which I was right. He did have the joker, but at least by playing that, it wasn't that big of a loss. If I played the 10, I would have lost out on a potential 20 damage. Losing on 1 wasn't that big a deal. And I draw another ace back, so I still had the same options I did before. I feel like I'm in the same spot. I'd like to dodge again, but I'm not. I don't really want to use the 2. So I think the 7's the best card that I have in my hand. I think playing the ace again could have been worth it. It would have caught a dodge if had I, but I still think the ace might have been a better consideration given my hand size already. I think one of the reasons I block as much as I do, one of the things that I hear people say of new players that they don't block enough. So I wanted to make sure that I had a decent amount of block range when I played. Here, I feel like I have a good, decent hand size. The potential, I wanted to lower the potential of what he was going to play. I didn't want him to throw me for 36 to hit me with 36 damage. I wasn't really looking forward to that. So I wanted to at least bluff at it because I didn't think I thought he would respect it. I went through the throw here thinking he'd dodge. It's kind of how he started his vortex last time. So I figured he might go with the same game plan, but again, it's really a mix-up play. I just have to kind of make a guess and go with it. It probably also was the best option I had because I really didn't have anything to play under 1.0, which is really where I'm going to get into trouble in this matchup is when the vortex starts. I'm not going to have too many options to get out of it. The Q is 1. Dodge into pretty much anything, or a throw catching one of his dodges. Thinking about playing, like I was saying earlier about the tie, I'm thinking about getting the push. I'm pretty okay with just losing the ace on the push. But he did, I guessed wrong, and he did play the dodge. And at that point, even though I had played around the triple aces that I knew he had, I forgot about that. And it cost me 36 life. So now I'm in deep, deep trouble. But at least I am standing up. So there was that there was that plus. uh, really was thinking at this point I just wanted to dodge into something here. I haven't seen too many throws from him standing up, so my 8 was the best throw I had and was in a pretty good. It was going to beat pretty much everything except for the 7, so I went with that. Got it in. I didn't want to throw one of my final authorities, which was really the only. No, I take that back. I really should have pumped with the king there just to get the extra damage in. Lessen the amount of combats needed to win. And that king is not doing me any good. It's been sitting in my hand almost the entire game. I haven't pulled another king. I know that you're supposed to use it for pump when it's available, so I definitely should have done it there. I didn't really like any of my options. Pretty much a lot of his cards beat the options I did have. Block was really the only thing I had available. And I'm kind of in the same spot here again. Definitely should have thought about getting rid of a couple of the final authorities. At this point, I'm really only thinking I'm going to need one. And I really need to, again, threaten the ace speed. And didn't do it. I can't sit here and block forever. I'm just going to take chip, and put myself in an even closer range of dying to pretty much anything he puts at me. Now I'm at 9, and now I'm in even worse shape as I was 2 combats ago. And a not much better hand. I get a second king that I can use final authority in, just get some damage in, especially since I've been sitting on it for so long. It was definitely the time to throw it. Got a good card in the jack, but at this point I'm thinking, hey, I need to dodge in, and you'll see a little glitch here if I remember this correctly. Nope, okay, no, I did throw the dodge as it showed. I thought I actually I had thrown it. I was twisting a lot. I had a lot of lag because I was trying to upload another video. So again, trying to dodge into the 10s. He also plays another dodge, so we collide dodges again. Checking his dodges, he's used a lot of them, but so have I. So now I'm in a shape here where I have to kind of raw dog it. I do have final authority back up. This is pretty much where I expected to see acrobatics. But when he didn't do it, I kind of figured he didn't have any back. He also used a lot of dodges. So his potential for acrobatics at that point was pretty small. So now he's in one combat. I'm in one combat. We're really close. It's just whoever gets the right read. I know my 7 can definitely win here, and he's shown that he's willing to dodge a lot against me. So definitely thought my 7 here was the best play versus everything I have, and my 7 does undercut his 7, which was another aspect that I was thinking of. So totally needed to disrespect at this point. Getting rid of one of my 10s, I didn't need 2 of them. Getting rid of one of the 9s, I didn't need 3 of them. And luckily he didn't have a joker there to end. But yeah, he had no acrobatics. Yeah, as he just says there, he had no acrobatics. You know, obviously that would give him more opportunity to finish me off. But got lucky on that front. Still talking about my bad first hand, and again, now I kind of feel silly about it because it really wasn't that bad. I mean, it was a very bad start, but I still was up 30 life in that first game and kind of threw it. So anyway, so now is the nightmare matchup. Arg. I'd already spent 2 matches playing against another Arg that luckily I won both matches in the SummerSlam. My SummerSlam matchup. So I was not looking forward for a third. I was really hoping he didn't have an ARG. But really at this point, I think you have to expect that guys like enomus and you know, Riker and Razek and all them, anybody you can think of that has a name, are definitely going to throw in counter matchups, and Arg is definitely one of the worst for Oni, I think. No knockdowns to stop Bubble Shield. Excuse me, the Hex. That doesn't help, so that clock is constantly running. You're pretty much at an effective life total of 30. Or, excuse me, 70. 30. Well, it seems like 30 sometimes, but anyway. And if it gets a Bubble Shield off, you're completely screwed. So I have to respect he's got a silent one behind. Although, after the first 4 reveals, playing some normals and everything, I don't think he has it. And I think he was also thinking about undercounting my 10s, which I showed him I was willing to play very early. So I'm definitely looking to have a much larger throw range here in this matchup to do exactly what just happened there, which was catch the hidden Bubble Shield, which I figured was around. I have to respect it. I can't think of winning without respecting it. And, of course, he's going to pull it back, so now I got to worry about it again. So I got to continue up that throw range. Luckily, I have another 7 back. Really thinking... Yeah, okay. So I think what I was feeling at that point was either getting one of those mini 10s on the board. And luckily, I didn't run into another Bubble Shield behind. Here, I'm thinking about 10 throwing. I'm not really certain why. I think maybe it was just damage aspect, and he hadn't shown... I think he showed 1 throw so far. And the mix-up of having doing the Bubble Shield again, I think he was feeling I was going to fall for. Which is a fine thought. I just, sussed it out. Now I feel comfortable he doesn't have a Bubble Shield behind right now, since he powered up for that one earlier. That was my undoing. He absolutely had another Bubble Shield behind. So I don't know if he top decked it or if he, played it exactly the way he drew it up, which was go power up for 1 as a valuation trap that he doesn't have a second one behind, and he definitely got me on that, whichever way it went. So now I'm in the nightmare scenario of trying to figure out how the hell to get out of the Bubble Shield. It's really tough. It is not a good situation. That was a block versus dodge, a little glitchy again. It was a little off trying to play this while I was trying to upload. I'll have to remember not to do that next time. Just upload before I go to bed. That 10 was really dangerous. But I had to respect that he was going to start throwing against me because I didn't really have a lot of good options. I haven't shown I've been willing to play the 3 raw or anything like that, and all of my other cards in hand really didn't feel strong enough versus the rest of his range, and the 10 would at least beat all of his normal blocks. So, and I had 3 of them. So I figured it was a good evaluation, and it worked out for me. And it wasn't really that big of a loss. Losing a 10 there when I still have 2 behind is just fine. But I'm definitely looking to play another one here, which I am able to do. He has a hand size to play face down. This time I'm not going to respect it. It's kind of hard to, and I really want to get the damage in. I was wrong. Lost a dodge and a 10. Again, not that big of a deal. I wasn't willing to put the queen out there because I really need that in case I get knocked down. It does not beat his aces, but it also beats everything else he's got as far as attack, so I really want to hold on to that. Again, looking at the 10s. I'm kind of surprised here I wasn't going after General's Armor because one of my tendencies, if I have the General's Armor, play the General's Armor. And I do know that throwing in a normal is in his a low normal is in his range. I don't think the play I made was wrong. I just think that I was kind of surprised that I didn't do that. So I caught another bubble shield after the power up. I think it was looking to mix me up between the blowfish spikes and the bubble shield, and luckily I caught it right. So now I'm getting him in a danger zone range of a couple of a couple of things. One of the things I needed to do there that we talked about after the match was I did get a couple throws in and I didn't pump. I absolutely should be pumping. Again, I have a king there, a single king that I'm not doing anything with, and I will not be doing anything with because it's a single king. Didn't pump. General's armor really isn't going to do a whole hell of a lot for me in this matchup. He really isn't going to normal that often, and certainly not often enough to keep the 5. It should have been an easy throw the king, throw the 5. And it could have been an extra 10 damage I put on, putting him within only 2 comments I needed instead of 3, which I had in my hand. I had the 10s and I had the 2 jacks, and I didn't do it. So, definite newbie misplay on my part. And again, the 5 really isn't a good thing here. I think I got a little lucky. I think I showed him at this point I was willing to throw. So I think that's why he was sticking out the normals, but I still didn't think that was really a major part of his range. So the other thing I didn't think about too was the fact that the counter in this, the only thing you can counter is the general's armor. So even then, general armor still didn't win. So I absolutely should be pitching those to throws that I get in. I'm not sure what I was doing with these blocks. I don't know if I felt like his range was more attacks to punish the fact that I was throwing often. But I also had 2 9 throws, and not really much else that I could do. Here's another situation where I 10 throwed, which happened to be the right call. He'd thrown a couple attacks. I knew he still had another ace behind. So I figured he was going to block at some point. I just happened to make the right call. At that point, throwing the 10, because throwing the 9 was not any better, really. Throwing the 10, it was still going to get beat by most of the range. So if I was going to throw a throw, that was the right throw. But now I'm sitting with 4 jacks in my hand. It's time for me to really start offloading these, especially after the bubble shield block, the last bubble shield throw. And then he showed another one. He played 2 in a row again. One thing I missed on the previous throw is I did actually dump the 5s in that time, so I did kind of think about it, but I thought about it a little bit too late. Oh, no, I didn't actually throw them. I'm sorry. I didn't throw the throws. I powered them up. Realized that they weren't useful, but... And yet another shot with the bubble shield. And at this point, this is really... now I'm in really big trouble. He can play super defensive here. And I'm just gonna eventually die. I hoped that that's what he was going to do, so it was time to 8 throw. I was right. I was able to get rid of that bubble shield quickly. Here's 2 pumps, no questions asked. Should have been the 2 kings. I'm not winning off the kings again. It's 17 damage versus the 20 damage and another 20 damage. That was a mistake. It could have been at 25. So twice, 3 times I didn't pump. And he'd be down to 6 times 8. That's 6. My math is bad. 8 times 3, sorry, 24. He'd be at 11. And then I get jokered for the pump. He would have been at 1 had I been pumping with those with the cards I wasn't using. Now I have 2 jokers in behind. What the hell am I doing with these? You know, I'm not really face downing a lot. Um, he's usually bubble shielding, not spikes, so there I tried to catch him in a throw. Was really the only thing I had at that point. Or catch him in a slower normal. Get him down to within one combat where the kings would actually be useful too. I could use the king for the final authority. But now my hand is complete garbage. I don't have a way to kill him in one hit. So I'm in a really tough spot in the throws. I have to play. I should have played a Joker there, or at least any kind of face down just to save damage. Big mistake, especially when I got 2 set in my hand. He probably wouldn't have played. He probably would just let me be knocked down. But again, what's the hell's 2 Jokers in my hand doing? Absolutely, should have been a slam dunk. Put it down on the table. Let him not put in the extra damage. It really wasn't about preventing damage that he plays or drawing 2 cards. It was really just don't play anymore. And I didn't do it. Now I'm down to pretty much 3 knockdown. I'm at 1. I have to win this combat. I have no opportunity to win this combat. And again, huge mistake not playing face down the previous turn. It put me in a checkmate situation. I give the Wii, knowing that I am boned. I wanted to, couldn't make a statement to do a face down, but just to concede there. But but I wanted to see what he played. Not too surprising that it was a bubble shield or a block of some type. There's really no reason to play anything else. So now I'm down 2-1, and there's no way I'm playing against Arg again for a 4th time with Oni. So I know in general, Arg's worst matchup, or at least what I know to be consensus. It may not be in the know yet because I'm not really huge in the community, so I haven't really had a chance to really have these conversations with people. But I feel Troc is the best counter pick. I have played a little Troc, not a lot, enough to understand what he does, but maybe not necessarily play it correctly. So I did suss out that he was going to try to attack. This is a particular time when he's going to attack a lot, so I have to be prepared for that. My throws are not going to be as good here. My throws are still awesome, but they're not like super awesome. The throw at a jack here was the play I was thinking. It'd be any normals he was trying to poke with, and it would have been that king. So maybe the better call, but I want to at least get it in there. It's like, yeah, the throw's in my range, of course. I am a grappler after all, so. And again, it's another situation where I got 2 jacks here. I think I was looking at the times again because, again, I was considering the jack. Jack is a card I haven't quite figured out yet with Troc, the right times to play it. I do see it's an ender, and it would have just been 7 damage, but it might have been preferable to, just undercut him. I'll have other opportunities to throw big damage, so maybe it's just better just to win the combat. So, anyways, got the second giant growth in, so I'm ready to go, but no aces in sight. Obviously, I don't want to par up my 9s. I really wanted to save my 2s for the throws, not necessarily because I want to undercut his throws, but just to have throws because I wasn't going to use the 9s. I get whacked with the go for 1 ace. I actually have 1 behind, so I'm not just trying to get bubble shield. He was actually also trying to get, it was a good mix up, and I got whacked for it because I was definitely thinking he might just come back with a bubble shield. With the fast attack, because I think it was, he's been showing a lot of pokes. So I wanted to undercut that, get some damage in, feel good about myself that I didn't, that I got something in there. But I'm in a situation right now where I have no aces, no good power-up decisions here, other than 2 jacks. If I wasn't willing to play a jack, I should be powering up. At this particular point, I need to think about doing that. I could go throw into an 8 for 20 damage. That was actually supposed to be the other side. So I should have won that combat, but I screwed up. I don't know. I think I either flipped it and it glitched on me and it didn't take the flip. But that was definitely supposed to be the 2.2 side. So a little unfortunate. I don't think it overall ended up being that close, so I don't think it really mattered in the end. But there's the bubble shield that he showed that he powered up from last time. I do have 1 ace again, but I'm in a situation where I really don't have any power ups that I could do. I could power up the 3s. But I did want to show that I was willing to block, even though I have 2 giant growths up. So, but I was willing to kind of, if he's going to play the poking game, I'm going to play the blocking game, get a better hand. I was also hoping to get some some things to power up with. Again, I really wanted to save the 8s for damage, and I get an opportunity here to play for 20. To really finally establish myself on the board here. I got rid of that bubble shield, which is even better. Another 8. At this point, I'm thinking he might try it again, either with another bubble shield, or maybe he'll try to try just a regular block. He was definitely right, and got another 20 damage in. So now I have a lead for the first time. But now, again, I'm in the situation, no power-ups, and only 1 ace. I need to think about goal bursting. It's hard against Arg because he doesn't have, like, the best throw range, but he's shown me he's poking a lot. So I probably could have got it in there. Instead, I decided to throw away on a blue burst. That probably did not matter. I didn't look at his hand size. With such a small hand size, he wasn't really looking to play anything more. He was just trying to poke out a throw again. So, again, more mistakes. Just not thinking it through before making the decision. When the decisions become automatic, I can play at a fast speed, but I really need to slow down and take my time, make sure I'm thinking about everything I'm doing before I do it. Another situation where it's just like, I'm supposed to be throwing. I'm the throw guy. At this point, I'm like really just out of it. Shouldn't have thrown that too. With all the pokes he's doing, the queens would have been a better idea. I mean, why are they there? If I wanted to save 1 behind for if I was knocked down or anything like that, that would have been fine. But I'm not expecting to be knocked down a lot, so I should have been playing those. Throwing a 9 as a face down, probably one of the worst moves I could have made. Those dodges are absolutely essential when I can start threatening Beast Unleash, and I didn't do it. At this point, I'm like, I gotta start throwing because he's gonna. And again, bad decision. If I really look at what I have. The best cards in my hand were the queens, and I just let them sit there. If he blocks, no big deal. But I definitely should not be using a 9. At this point, you can tell that I've lost it. I'm not evaluating properly. I'm way on my game, and now I've drained my hand of any good options whatsoever, while leaving, or at least of all throws, while leaving 2 good options in my hand that I'm still not playing. And even he's like, dude, why haven't you attacked yet? At this point, I'm in a situation where I have to threaten Beast Unleashed. I have to do it. So, it's the only thing that's going to save me. It's the only chance I have at this point. He recognizes that too. And now he's got to be able to threaten both Blowfish Spikes and another and something else. At this point, I'm checking the speeds of everything. But he's not playing down super fast. So I actually do think at this point, he actually is trying to decipher what the hell am I going to do? Am I going to just throw out Beast or not? So I purposely wait for him, at least for a little bit as I'm thinking it. I am just going to play Beast. At that point, I felt it was my only option. I didn't have a dodge, but I had to try to get Beast in there somehow. So, so I went for it. It was really a 50-50. Either he plays Blowfish Spikes or he plays his own dodge. At that point, I think I waited long enough. There was definitely a chance for me to get the go, but he did end up playing Blowfish, and that's the end of the match. It was great to play against him, getting a chance to get some of that high-level play. And what I mean by that is just somebody that's a name that I've recognized, that I know that's been around for a while. It's been good to kind of get that kind of play. So it worked out. I think a little bit down the line as we were talking, he was thinking about throwing there, and he almost did. So I actually could have won that matchup and brought it back to even to the rubber match. Which I'm not sure what he played. He probably would have gone back to Vendetta. I have to assume, but definitely shows I need to work on my my counter pick matchup, because I know that people will play ARG against me. I do need to think about maybe leading Troc sometimes just to prevent that, but at the same time, I don't want to get in a situation where I'm playing my counter pick when I really didn't need to, where they're going to play their main too.